Hey guys, ever wondered if your favorite horror movies are based on true events? Well, today, we're going to uncover the spine-chilling truth behind one of the most iconic horror films ever made. Today, I'm diving into one of the most iconic horror films ever made, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This film has terrified audiences for decades, but what if I told you that the real story behind it is even more horrifying? But here's the kicker. The truth behind it is even more chilling than fiction. The real-life events that inspired this movie are so gruesome, they make the film look like a fairy tale. Let's rewind to the early 1970s. This was a time when horror was beginning to take a new shape, and filmmakers were pushing the boundaries of what could be shown on screen. Director Tobe Hooper shocked the world with the story of a group of friends tormented by a cannibalistic family in rural Texas. The film's raw, gritty style made it feel disturbingly real. Leatherface, with his grotesque mask made of human skin, became an instant horror icon. His character was so terrifying that it left an indelible mark on the genre. But did you know Leatherface was inspired by a real-life monster? Yes, the character was based on someone whose crimes were so horrific, they defy belief. Enter Ed Gein, a seemingly harmless handyman from Plainfield, Wisconsin. On the surface, he appeared to be just another quiet, unassuming man. Gein's crimes reached a level of macabre that even horror writers couldn't dream up. His actions were so grotesque that they shocked the entire nation. When police searched his farmhouse in 1957, they found a house of horrors. What they discovered inside was beyond anyone's worst nightmares. There were skulls turned into bowls, chairs upholstered with human skin, and even a lampshade made of a human face. The sheer brutality and creativity of his crimes were unimaginable. I know. It's almost too horrifying to believe, but this was the reality that inspired some of the most terrifying characters in horror cinema. Ed Gein's gruesome handiwork didn't just inspire the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It also influenced other horror classics like Psycho and The Silence of the Lambs. His twisted legacy has left a lasting impact on the genre. But unlike the movies, Gein's story is all too real. His actions were not the product of a screenwriter's imagination, but the result of a deeply disturbed mind. He confessed to murdering 2 women, but the artifacts in his home suggested there were more victims. The true extent of his crimes may never be fully known. His twisted obsession with his deceased mother drove him to dig up graves to make his grotesque crafts. This macabre hobby was a way for him to keep his mother close, even in death. You might be wondering why someone like Gein wasn't caught sooner. In a small town like Plainfield, he was just that odd guy who kept to himself. His eccentric behavior was overlooked by the community. In a small town like Plainfield, he was just that odd guy who kept to himself. His strange habits were dismissed as quirks, allowing him to continue his gruesome activities undetected. It wasn't until a store owner named Bernice Warden went missing that the police finally discovered the true horror within his home. Her disappearance was the catalyst that led to the unmasking of Gein's monstrous deeds. And here's a chilling fact. When Gein was finally apprehended, he was deemed unfit for trial. His mental state was so deteriorated that he was sent to a mental institution instead of prison. He spent the rest of his days in a mental institution, leaving behind a legacy of fear and fascination that permeates horror culture to this day. His story continues to haunt the public imagination. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre may be a work of fiction, but the terror it evokes is rooted in real-life nightmares. The film's impact is magnified by the horrifying truth that inspired it. So next time you watch Leatherface rev up that chainsaw, remember the true story that lurks in the shadows. The real-life horrors that inspired the film are far more terrifying than any movie could ever be. Sometimes, reality is the scariest story of all. The true events that inspire horror films remind us that real life can be more frightening than fiction. If you enjoyed this dive into the dark side of horror, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime tales. We have many more chilling stories to uncover. Until next time, stay safe. And stay curious. The world is full of mysteries waiting to be explored.